Hello and welcome to another weekly reading. We are just out of eclipse season. Strictly speaking, it will only end on the next new moon, which will be next week, but we've completed our second eclipse of the two that we have in a season. And I don't know about you, but this felt like a pretty intense cycle to me. For some of us, depending where that lands in our chart, or if we have a lot of Scorpio or Taurus, then we would have been feeling that more strongly. But this was also the final Scorpio eclipse of this axis. We'll have one more Taurus eclipse at the end of October, and then we'll be done with this axis for 9 years. So for me, this was a real finishing off of something that we needed to release. And I feel like this reading is very reflective of the process that we've just undergone. So remember to pick a number between 1 and 4. This week we will have Venus moving. She's moving signs today. She starts the week in Cancer. And we also have one more week of Mercury in his retrograde phase. So yes, let's feel into what we need to reflect on, remember, redo, repeat, realign with, etc. And let's dive in. I've also used Purify as an oil because we are purifying with this eclipse having come through in Scorpio. This is also, malachite is a very detoxifying crystal, and I'm using a beautiful green fluorite to bring in a little calm and balance. So here's the big picture of our reading for the week. Oh, if it'll come into focus. There we go. We've got a lot of major arcana. We have 3 out of 4 major arcana and the 10 of Pentacles, which is the final in a series from Ace to 10. So you can see a great deal of kind of big energy with that is what I would maybe suggest. And then another remarkable thing is we have the Chariot as our anchor card. Now, I'm sure most of you will remember, if you've been watching my readings for a while, that the Chariot is our card for the year. This is a 7-year. Therefore, the Chariot is a strong archetypal theme for all of us this year. And the Chariot is very much about speed, movement, momentum. Now, since 2020, there's been a bit of a holding back in that for most of us in many areas of our lives and collectively as well. So this sudden rush of forward momentum this year is possibly exciting, but also possibly a little bit kind of overwhelming. And it's bringing to light the areas where we actually got a little comfortable in the lack of momentum. We got used to the more sedentary or stagnant. We didn't like it when we were in it, but now that there's this forward momentum, and I'm really seeing this especially with the Death Rebirth card alongside the Chariot and upside down. It's kind of saying to me like, oh, but maybe it was actually better when I was stuck home alone or just in the house with my family, where I didn't have to go out into groups, into society, because now I'm finding this overwhelming and almost too busy, because we had a break from the frenetic pace of life as we know it in most Western cultures. It's kind of just go, 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 go. Go till you drop. And 2020, as frustrating as that was, forced everyone to a standstill. And that was exceptionally uncomfortable. But then getting back into the full speed ahead has proven to be also an uncomfortable experience, because now that we've had a pause from it, we can recognize how frenetic life was. And we can recognize that even though we don't want to be isolated and stuck at home all the time, we also don't really want that full speed ahead all the time. And that's why this Death card is upside down, saying, I'm kind of have a drawback to something of days gone by, and I'm struggling to let go of that. And I have heard a lot of people saying that they actually now prefer not to go out in groups, they've recognized how comfortable they've gotten with being alone, although they can also feel the isolation and the loneliness in it. So now it's as if we need to find a new balance. And you can see also with the Chariot, the white and the black horse. Let's find a balance between the shadow and the light, the day and the night. And also the rushing and then the rest, because Death Rebirth is also a point of something must die. And for something to die, it has to slow right down, sort of disappear or dissolve, and then something new is born. That period between the actual death and the rebirth, that is a slowing down period. Then there will be an acceleration. It's like if you watch children, they go through these growth spurts and then they stay still for a while and then they grow. And that actually is more what we need. We need the combination of hurry up and wait. So the 10 of Pentacles, remember Pentacles is an earth card. It's the end of a cycle. It's very much about what is it that I'm actually trying to create in the material world. What day-to-day practical kind of mundane reality am I looking for? What are my values? And this is important because Venus has shifted sign today and she's going into a sign that is very nurturing and connected to family and nostalgia, which our upside down death card is also speaking to. I just want to point out that the 13 in the Major Arcana, which is the death card, reduces to a number 4, which links us back to the card of the Emperor. And the Emperor is a wise businessman. And oftentimes when we get into the wise businessman archetype, there's this work too hard feeling. So again, what projects am I taking on that are too much? What do I need to let go of? Why am I overloading and overburdening myself? Because in order to do that, am I getting to the 10 of Pentacles? Am I getting to what I want? Am I working too hard to value what I have at home, for example? Like, do I even recognize my family when I get home after a long day? That kind of concept. And obviously you can relate that to anything. If you're at home all day and you're just trying to get the cooking and the cleaning and whatever done, can you even appreciate the funny little things that the children are saying or doing? Or you're just too exhausted to even appreciate those things. So where is it that we're overloading ourselves to the point that we can't appreciate that which we already have? So there's a lot of gratitude in this 10 of Pentacles for what we already have, if we're able to see it, which at the moment the indication is we're going too fast, we're pushing too hard, we're recognizing, though, because death is upside down, we're recognizing that we're not appreciating the things that we appreciate because we're so overloaded. But the Sun card, the 19, also Major Arcana, is really coming in to say it's time to open up to light and joy. Also, the Sun card can be busy, which is definitely something we need to watch. And it relates to the number 1. If we reduce 1 plus 9 is 10, then you do 1 plus 0 is 1. So that brings us back to the Magician card. And the Magician is a great manifester, but what he needs to do is he needs to learn, these are the tools that I have, these are the raw materials, and how do I use them to manifest? By the time we get to the Sun card, the 19, it's like you understand the tools you have. You know how to use them, but now you actually have to use them. You can't just talk about it. You can't just think about it. You can't just intellectualize it. It's time to do them. And it should be joyful. It should be bright. It should be expansive. It should be open. That's what life is. You should feel the gratitude, allow yourself to absorb the light. And that's really what our week is telling us, that we need to recognize where we're going too fast, where we're working too hard, where we're resisting releasing something because partly that we're stuck in this nostalgic, like, bygone era. And oftentimes we hook onto something that we think was something that we want to go back to, but we forget certain aspects about that stage or situation in our life. And so we don't have a very realistic view of what we're wishing we could have back in many ways. So this is definitely an extremely intense week based on the coming on the back of that eclipse for us to get real with ourselves. Where am I going too fast? Where am I hanging too hard? Where am I not appreciating what I already have, or actively engaged in working towards what I want to the point that I can appreciate it simultaneously? And where am I resisting manifesting and taking my whole self into my life and accepting that actually I have everything I need within me and I can create the life I choose? And I know how to do that if I just trust that I can. So I hope this has been helpful. Have a beautiful week, and remember that I am available for private readings and many other things if you desire to get a little assistance along your path. Thanks so much for watching.